So I got this question from a client. What about a residence club? The pros, the cons. Is it a good decision, bad decision? It's kind of like a country club for vacations, but is it worth it? Well, let's go into it. Let's talk about it and make some painful profits together. So one thing with a residence club is definitely exclusive, and it's costly as well. It typically costs about $240,000 for a residence club on the low end. On the high end, they can be up at $600,000. A lot of money, especially for something that you really don't own 100%. But it's perks. Is the perks worth it? That's for you to decide. A residence club is a lot more flexible though. They typically give you 7 to 28 days on an annual basis. Compare that to a timeshare that gives you about 2 weeks, a little bit different. So from a flexibility standpoint, not bad. And also again, from a luxury standpoint, it feels pretty good, especially when you get all the perks. Not like a timeshare. You do get some leeway on how you can use it depending on the size. A larger condo, you might get a week or 2 weeks. A smaller condo, you can get up to 35 days. Now you gotta pay, but think about 35 days. That's almost 2 months out the year you can use to travel anywhere. It might be worth it in the grand scheme of things if you want to pay the money though. Another cool thing about a residence club, you know what you can do? If you want to do it with an Airbnb, you can do that because you own it. So think about if you Airbnb one of these places. A nice amount of money in your pocket. Now, the issue is when to do it. Because of course people can go on Expedia, they can go on hotels.com and rent a beautiful place like this. But you, the right time, you can do it yourself. Now you might not charge $2,000 a night, you might charge $1,500, you might charge $1,000. But think about it, if we have literally 35 days charging $1,000 on a day-to-day basis, man, that's $35,000 a year. So if it does cost you $250,000, you get it paid off for 7 to 8 years. And after that, you can vacation in luxury. Another cool thing, you don't have blackout dates. What does that mean? That means all throughout the year, January 1 through December 31, we can have fun and vacation. Yes, we're paying for it, but we know with timeshares you have blackouts. No blackouts, so you can travel anytime you want to. And from an Airbnb perspective, if we Airbnb during a hot day, that might make us more money. You can also get your points a lot quicker. Well, with your points, you can actually have more trips for a year. It's called acceleration. With a residence club, you can say, you know what? I don't want to take no trips next year. I want to do them all this year. Now, what does that mean? You can move all your points from next year all to the year you're in. Will that cost you? Yeah, it's usually about a 5% charge. So if you got 10,000 points, they might take 500 points from you. Now that 9,500 points, you can go anywhere in the world that your residence club allows you to. But again, from a cost standpoint, if you think about an Airbnb, that's more opportunities to Airbnb, which gives you more time to pay off that loan. And if you pay off the loan quicker, that means more money in your pocket. Something to think about. Man, look at that when it rains. This looks more like Jack's Beach than Mexico. Yesterday, these skies, not like this. The sea, blue like we was in Turks and Caicos. Now, muddy. It's a difference. Weather plays a huge part in your view. Because yesterday from my rooftop restaurant, it looked way different than today. Way different. One thing that's not fun about a residence club, fees. Just like a timeshare. Those fees aren't cheap either. They're usually in between $3,000 to $8,000 a year. Not fun. Compared if I had an ownership, like if I owned a beach house, owned a condo on the beach, I'm paying those taxes, correct? But I'm writing them off in some shape or fashion. Here, those maintenance fees, no write-off. Unless you have a really good accountant. I don't think he or she can swing that though. Also with a residential club, the cost. Not the cost just to pay for it, because that's costly, but the interest rate. Since you are paying more, it's gonna cost you more. Typically the interest rate's between 15 to 20% if you finance it through that club. Get it through your bank, it might be some leeway. Since it's a larger purchase, they might use that as a home equity loan. They might use that as a second mortgage because it is a small, very small, but small amount of ownership. So think about it. If I am paying 5, 6, 7, heck, 30-year interest rates as high as 8.5%, and I spread it out over 30 years at 8%, I do get to write it off. 300 grand, 8%, that's 24,000 a year. That does not feel good in our pockets, but if we get that deduction, that feels a lot better because we do get it back on our taxes. You want to talk to your CPA about that? Me being a CFP, I can give some advice, but not all. But something to think about, the goods and the bads of a residential property. With some residence clubs, you don't get to roll it over, which means you use it, and if you don't, then you lose it. That's not fun, especially if you're paying a lot of money for something. Again, the average residence club costs $250,000 a year. So it makes this vacation, which might be good, especially for the spouse who wants to get out the house. Who knows? But something to think about. You can do a rider in the contract. That rider says you can roll over your points. So if you don't use it for that year, you can roll it over to the next year. We all love rollovers in the financial world, right? Especially as a financial advisor. If you're able to roll over those points, it's good. We're having a tough year. Things that happen on our schedule, we can't get out like we want to. Then the next year we can roll over those points, which means more trips for the next year, or from an Airbnb standpoint, more times we can rent out our property that we co-own with a lot of other people. And number two, more money in our pocket if we don't use it. So from an investment standpoint, it's pretty cool. And you don't got to worry about renting something out day after day, month after month. It could be 1 week. Think about it. We do 3 weeks out the year. Out those 3 weeks out the year, we're charging $10,000 a pop. That's $30,000. Compared to an Airbnb, we got to do it week after week, day after day. Another advantage though is not having to clean. With our Airbnb, man, we got to clean every single time somebody comes into our property. Here, it's taken care of. Yes, we're paying a maintenance cost, so we can look at that as a cleaning fee, but with the maintenance cost, that covers everything. So we don't have to pay a person the 2, 3, 4 times they use our property. Money saved in our pocket. Now, from a tax standpoint, you may not be able to write it off because residential clubs can't always go into your business name. You want to talk to your CPA about that. But if it can, and if you're able to finesse it where it will be, something to think about. If we have our maintenance costs, we're able to write it off, $3,000 to $8,000 a year of maintenance costs comes out of our pocket. If that's a write-off, that helps with our taxes. Man, this water feels good. Another disadvantage is that the increase might not go up. Typically, when it comes to luxury properties, they go up by about 8 to 10% a year. A residential club, they go up by about 2.5%. Not even as much as the average house, because the average house does go up by 4% a year. It seems like they go up by 10% these last few years, but historically not the case. So I get all these perks. I got the infinity pool, I get the great view, but it only goes up by 4% a year. Not fun. But if I buy a luxury condo and I keep it, it goes up by almost 10% a year. That's the difference, especially in places that are building, like Cancun and Tulum, for instance. But if I don't want to spend the money doing a residential club, it helps me. It helps me a lot. Because instead of spending buku amounts of money, I spend money, I pay my maintenance costs, and that's about it. And I travel 2 or 3 times a year to different places too. I'm not stuck in one resort, even though it's beautiful. You want the appreciation? You might want to think about buying a condo. A luxury condo might be way more expensive, or if you want to keep money in your pocket, travel all over the world, a resident club might be something to think about. Even though you don't get the cost appreciation like a regular house, but you do get the infinity pool though. So if you love new construction, we all love new construction, and you like being in something that's new, when the walls smell good, no dirt on the carpet, it's all brand spanking new. You buy a condo, yes, the condo is great. It feels good. We have ownership involved in it. But the condo, we're there the next year, they're there another year. Are we gonna sell our condo and buy something else new? So you wanna be in something that grows, something that's gonna appreciate over time. You might wanna think about a condo. One not so good thing about a residence club is the resale. If you like Floyd Mayweather, right there, he's not there, but that is his penthouse. For him, doesn't matter about resale. He buys it for $1.5 million, holds it, he ain't gonna sell it. If he does, who cares? It's Floyd. But for normal people like me and you, We buy something for 300 grand. We try to, well, that's not 300 grand. Maybe that one on the second floor is 300 grand. And then 5 years later, we want to sell it. It probably won't appreciate. So again, if it does appreciate, we're talking about $330,000. 330 in 5 years? S&P 500 gives you something better than that historically. We know this year, not so much. But if you're Floyd up here, it doesn't matter. So I say that to say, the resale value, not so fun. Resale market, not so fun. But if you're in it for the long run, it doesn't matter. A cool thing though about these is that they're forever. You buy it, it's like a house. It's not like a 5-year, 10-year thing. You get kicked into a pool. It's yours. You got to pay the maintenance costs, but that's it. So maybe one day you get lucky and say, what up, Floyd? What up, champ? You want to spar? Not today. But my point is though, the resale, not that fun, doesn't appreciate like a condo or a vacation house, but you are able to be with stars, entertainers, if that's your lifestyle. If not, you do want to just relax, you might want to think about it. It's up to you. If you're looking for the resale, you want to be in something and flip it and make money down the road, might not be the best thing. If you're like Floyd, where you could just drop 1.5 million, not think about it, with his own private rooftop, that's crazy. Then it doesn't matter. As I stroll back, for the record, nowhere near Floyd. Floyd's on the 10th floor with his own rooftop. We're on the 3rd floor with the common folk. But it is what it is though. Maybe one day. I'm just Mr. Painful Profits, not a person who grosses $100 million a year. Man, think about that. 2 fights, $100 million. Woo! Man, let's get to the bag. So what do we think? A residence club, good investment, bad investment? Depends on the person. If you want luxury at a smaller price, then you might want to think about it. If you want to have your own luxury and pay money, but have the tax write-offs, have the privacy, be able to Airbnb it out all throughout the year instead of 3 or 4 weeks out the year, you doing it yourself might be a bigger bang for your buck. You're gonna pay some money though. A luxury club like this, paying it for yourself, probably 800, 900 grand compared to a luxury club and you doing it residential style, about 300 grand. Something to think about. If you're thinking at all. If you're not thinking, you probably don't want to buy it because you want to do your research. Anytime we invest any money, if it's a house, if it's a stock, if it's any investment, even a car, you want to do your research. So if you're not going to research it, hop into it, sign the paperwork as they pressure you on doing it, you probably don't want to do it. We don't want to have FOMO, fear of missing out, but we don't want to have buyer's remorse either. And you can definitely have buyer's remorse buying a residence club. Even though it feels good, the vacation, go to beautiful places, it might not feel good when you pay that month-to-month bill and the maintenance costs and all other things associated with it as well, and the flight to go somewhere that you're overpaying for. Let's make some painful profits together, y'all. Peace. If you like these videos and other videos I did about vacationing, about spending money, saving money, how to spend money smartly, comment below, like, subscribe, and follow. But as I always say, do your own research. Long-term investing always is the wave. Let's make some painful profits together, y'all. Peace.
And you just wanna get paid. Tired of making no money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late. Yeah, painful profits to help you seek change.